A strange thing has happened in the world of health. Millions of people are willingly doing things that would have seemed completely insane just a few decades ago. They sit in freezing water, they stand in ice baths, they jump into cold oceans, they spend time sweating in 100-degree saunas. They expose themselves to intense heat, intense cold, and deliberate discomfort, and call it recovery. Pause for a second and ask the question nobody seems to be asking. Is it actually recovery? Or is it just another form of stress? Biologically, the answer is obvious and fascinating. Cold plunges and saunas don't soothe the body into rest the way a massage or a warm bath might. They provoke a powerful, immediate response. They challenge the nervous system, trigger hormonal cascades, and force the body to work to maintain balance. And yet, paradoxically, many people report feeling calmer, more energized, more resilient, and more recovered after these exposures. How can something stressful make you feel better? Let's start with a simple truth. The people who study longevity and performance keep circling back to the human body was not designed for comfort. For most of human history, our ancestors lived with temperature swings, weather extremes, and scarcity. The body evolved to respond to challenge, to adapt, and to survive. Modern life gradually removed many of those challenges. Climate control, heated homes, air-conditioned offices, constant comfort. Comfort feels good in the moment, but biology often grows through challenge. Muscles don't get stronger by avoiding stress. They get stronger by enduring controlled stress and then recovering. That cycle, stress, recovery, adaptation, repeats across nearly every system in the body. This principle has a name, hormesis. Hormesis describes how low to moderate amounts of stress stimulate protective and adaptive responses that improve function and resilience. Exercise is hormesis. Fasting is hormesis. Cold exposure and heat exposure fit the same pattern. The crucial variable is dose. Too little stress produces stagnation. Too much becomes harmful. The benefit lies in the middle. Cold plunges illustrate this clearly. There is something almost archetypal about willingly stepping into near-freezing water. The response is immediate and unmistakable. Breathing quickens, heart rate rises, stress hormones spike, and peripheral blood vessels constrict. From the body's perspective, extreme cold is a threat. The sympathetic nervous system activates. Every survival instinct says, get out. That reaction is not miraculous, it's protective. The physiological cost in the moment is stress, but the potential benefit comes afterwards. Repeat cold exposure can alter inflammatory signaling, modulate mood-regulating systems, and shift your perception of discomfort. People often report increased alertness, clearer thinking, and a stronger sense of control. Notice the subtle but crucial distinction. The cold plunge itself is not recovery, it's the stressor. And recovery is what happens in the hours and days after if adaptation occurs. Saunas are the mirror image, intense heat rather than intense cold. Entering a hot sauna raises core temperature, dilates blood vessels, increases heart rate and sweating, and forces the cardiovascular and thermoregulatory systems to work harder. This is stress too, a different flavor of stress. Repeated heat exposure leads to meaningful adaptations, improved heat tolerance, better vascular function, transient increases in heart rate similar to light aerobic exercise, and the relaxation many people describe as profound. Again, the magic isn't in the suffering, it's in how the body adapts to that challenge. To understand how these practices fit into recovery, we need to talk about heart rate variability, HRV. HRV is one of the most useful windows we have into the autonomic nervous system and the balance between sympathetic, fight or flight, and parasympathetic, rest and digest activity. But HRV is not a simple good versus bad meter. Immediately after a cold plunge or a sauna, HRV may drop because the body is in an activated state. That acute change doesn't mean you wrecked your recovery. It simply reflects physiological engagement. What matters far more is the pattern over time, how HRV looks hours later, the following day, and across weeks. If HRV trends upward and you feel restored, that suggests adaptation and improved resilience. If HRV stays suppressed and subjective recovery declines, that suggests you've piled on stress without adequate recovery. This leads to a common mistake, assuming more is better. Modern culture venerates extremes, longer ice baths, hotter saunas, more sessions, more suffering. But biology does not reward punishment. It rewards adaptation. You don't become fitter by continually subjecting yourself to stress without recovery. Overdo heat or cold, skip recovery, and the nervous system can become overloaded. What once felt like a useful stimulus can flip into chronic stress. That's why personalization and context matter. The best protocol isn't the one your favorite influencer uses, it's the one your body can recover from. Your age, training status, baseline health, sleep quality, current stress load, medications, and medical history all influence how you respond. A 25-year-old athlete may tolerate frequent cold plunges. A 60-year-old with hypertension or a hectic job may need longer recovery and more cautious dosing. The variable you should track is not how extreme you feel during the exposure, but how your physiology and performance change afterward. Wearable technology has transformed our ability to observe these responses. Devices can now track HRV, resting heart rate, sleep architecture, recovery scores, and even skin temperature and heart rate trends in real time. For the first time, ordinary people can see the physiological conversation between stress and recovery. Imagine this. You had a poor night's sleep, HRV is already low, and perceived stress is high. That might not be the day to add deliberate physiological stress. On a different day, after great sleep and with a high readiness score, a cold plunge or a sauna session could be the perfect stimulus. So how should you think about cold plunges and saunas? The short answer, both. They are controlled stressors that can build resilience when used intelligently. The benefit arises from adaptation, not from suffering for suffering's sake. Recovery is not the absence of stress. Recovery is the ability to adapt to stress, to return stronger, calmer, and more capable than before. At OXYZEN, that's how we think about health intelligence. Not blindly copying trends, but interpreting the signals your body sends and using them to guide smarter choices. The smartest recovery strategy is rarely the most extreme. It's the most informed, tuned to your sleep, your HRV trends, your daily load, and your long-term goals. If there's one lesson I want you to keep from this episode, it's this. The strongest bodies are not the ones that avoid challenge. They're the ones that handle challenge and recover from it effectively. Whether your tool of choice is cold water, heat, exercise, breathwork, or simply smart sleep, aim for adaptation, not agony. I'm Dr. Yende. Thank you for joining me on OXYZEN Health Intelligence. Remember, the question isn't whether stress exists. The question is whether your body can adapt to it. And that's a story your physiology tells every day. I'll see you in the next episode.